News, visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com. Get updated information on markets, weather, ag news, local interviews with NAFB farm broadcaster Jared White, and much, much more. All at IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
Connexus will provide local, reliable, affordable, and speed of light fiber internet to Clinton. Get on the install list now by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Fiber internet is coming to Clinton. Get on the install list now.
News time is 8 minutes after 8 o'clock here on this Monday morning. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast. We stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. The DeWitt County Museum is promoting women who have had an impact on the C.H. Moore Homestead during this Women's History Month. Joey Long says the conversation starts with Minerva Moore Bishop, C.H.'s sister, who was the first to reside in the homestead.
Minerva Moore Bishop. Mm-hmm. Minerva was a sister to C.H. Moore, and she was actually the first lady to call the homestead home. Mm-hmm. So she was born in 1823 and born in Ohio, as were the other siblings of C.H. Moore. And then, Moore had made his way here to DeWitt County. And when Minerva met her to-be husband, John Bishop, she was actually living under Mr. Moore's roof at the time. At that point in time, Mr. Moore lived in a big brick house northeast of town. And John Bishop was a local grain and lumber dealer, had done quite well for himself.
According to Long, the second woman to live in the house was C.H. Moore's second wife. Long explains upon the passing of his sister, Minerva, C.H. bought the property and moved in.
The second lady of the house would have been Mr. Moore's second wife. Mm-hmm. Her name was Rose Onstein. So when Minerva passed away in 1880, not long after that, her husband, John Bishop, sold the house to Mr. Moore. And then Mr. Moore purchased the property and then did things to enlarge the house. He actually added the west wing of the house. Minerva had a greenhouse, and I came across an article in the old newspaper where Mr. Moore was removing the greenhouse, and then on the footprint of where the greenhouse was, erecting that two-story library that everybody's so fond of.
C.H. Moore's son's widow also lived with Rose after C.H.'s passing. According to Long, finding information on Nellie, Moore's son's widow, was difficult. While she did not have children when she was married, several years later she would marry an old friend who had 5 children.
When Rose was going through her widowhood period at the house, she was not residing there alone. There was another widow in the family, and her name was Nellie Piper Moore. And Nellie was married to C.H. Moore's son, Arthur. When Rose became widowed in 1901, it was only months later when Nellie became widowed, when her husband died. So the two ladies resided under one roof at the Homestead house. I always felt a little sad for Nellie, and Nellie was a tough one to research. And it's difficult with women. You have maiden names and then married names, and what if they married again and you don't know what name you're looking for? Whereas, when you're researching men, that surname is their surname for life, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So Nellie was a tough one. I felt sorry for Nellie because she and Arthur Moore did not produce any children. So there were no children blessed that union. And I knew that, she had been widowed and, would have been considered, kind of a young widow. Spent her time living in the house with Mr. Moore's widow, and then Mr. Moore's widow died in 1907. So what happened to Nellie? And I just felt so bad that she never had any children.
Long points out when the museum reopens in April, you can hear the rest of the story about Nellie and these 3 women and a few others by taking a tour of the museum. Find more by visiting chmoorehomestead.org or find them on Facebook. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
As the seasons change, so does all the stuff in the air that trigger allergy season. CEO Paul Skowron here from Warner Hospital and Health Services, reminding you our walk-in clinic inside our Family Medicine Center is ready to treat those allergies that have you sneezing, blowing your nose, and just making you miserable. No appointment? No problem. Get to our walk-in clinic inside our Family Medicine Center at Warner Hospital at Health Services in Clinton and get feeling better fast.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet Service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4Ls with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
Your own home without the maintenance. If you're 55 or better, a beautiful Liberty Village villa could be yours. This is Erin, and I invite you to come take a tour of our move-in ready villa. Click the Liberty Village icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Simply the finest.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
With SRN Sports, I'm Jeremy House. Men's top 25 college basketball, the reigning champions head into the NCAA championship tournament the way they ended it last year.
Connecticut is the top overall seed as the Huskies head to East. The defending NCAA champions and current Big East title holders are followed in the region seedings by Iowa State, Illinois, and Auburn. Houston tops the South region, and Marquette is second in the South, ahead of Kentucky and Duke. The Golden Eagles are the only team among that quartet to reach its tourney championship game. Purdue heads the Midwest region and is followed by Tennessee, Creighton, and Kansas. North Carolina is number one in the West, just ahead of Arizona, Baylor, and Alabama. Like the Cougars and Boilermakers, the Tar Heels failed to win their conference tournament. I'm Dave Ferry.
Yesterday, number 12 Auburn won the Southeastern Conference Championship tournament by defeating Florida, while 13th ranked Illinois won the Big Ten Conference Championship. This is SRN Sports. In the NBA, winners included Miami, Milwaukee, Dallas, Boston, Orlando, San Antonio, and Atlanta. In the NHL, the Vegas Golden Knights put up a crucial win against a fellow playoff contender.
The Golden Knights, trying to hang on to a playoff spot, rallied to beat the Devils, who were trying to move up into playoff position by a 3-1 score. All the scoring came in the third period, with New Jersey's Nico Hischier giving the Devils a 1-0 lead just 27 seconds in. But Vegas tied it nearly 2.5 minutes later on William Carrier's goal. Then, with just under 9 minutes left in regulation time, Jack Eichel beat Jake Allen for what proved to be the game-winning goal. William Karlsson then added an empty netter to seal it for the Golden Knights, who opened up a 5-point lead on the Wild for the final Western wildcard berth. I'm Tom Merriam.
Other winners were the New York Rangers, Carolina, Chicago, Winnipeg, Pittsburgh, and St. Louis. This is SRN Sports.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. The Clinton Maroons bats were cooking again on Saturday in an easy 19-1 win over Bloomington Cornerstone Christian Academy in non-conference high school boys baseball action in Bloomington. Colton Walker paced the Maroons offense, going 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, and 2 runs scored. Josh Bass was 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs scored. Ryan Pine and John Smock drove in 2 runs for Clinton. Smock had a double and drew a walk. Jack Manning struck out 8 in 3 scoreless innings. The sophomore allowed a hit and a walk. Since its opening day loss to Delavan, the Maroons have rattled off 3 wins in a row to go to 3-1 overall. They're back at home Tuesday, hosting Mahomet Seymour. Luke Teschke hit a go-ahead 3-run home run in the 6th inning of the second game of Monticello Saturday's double dip, propelling them to a 7-2 win over Waterloo from Southern Illinois. With Monticello down 2-0 in the 6th inning, Teschke's home run started a 7-run inning For the Sages, the senior Illinois State commit struck out 13 in 6 innings of 2-run ball. 1 run was earned. Teschke allowed a hit and 2 walks. Brody Belledew finished off the game with a scoreless inning of relief. Matt Swartz, Coy Williams, and Raiden Colbert drove in runs in the 7-run frame as Monticello finished off a 3-0 weekend in Southern Illinois. In the first game Saturday, Monticello rolled Murfreesboro 10-0 in 6 innings thanks to another explosive inning. The Sages led 3-0 heading to the top of the 6th and scored 7 runs to go up 10-0. Carter Foran was 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs scored for the Sages. Eli Kraft was 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Colton Vance was 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run. Matt Swartz and Williams each scored twice in the first contest Saturday for Monticello. Dylan Brown, Ike Young, and Teschke had RBIs as well. Young threw 5 innings of shutout ball. The junior allowed 2 hits and walked 2 while striking out 3. Monticello goes to 5-0 on the season. They return home to take on Arthur Levington at Wood Hammond on Tuesday afternoon. Hear the action on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. The Maora-Forsyth Trojans offense started fast Saturday and never let up as they rolled to a 19-2 5-inning win over Champaign St. Thomas More in Champaign in non-conference high school boys baseball action Saturday. Zane Giles was 4 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs scored. Andy Munjoy was 3 for 5 with a double, 4 RBIs and a run scored. Miles Leach finished 3 for 5 with a double, 3 RBIs and a pair of runs scored. Connor Kelly was 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs, a double, and 2 runs scored. Caden Maurer finished 1 for 4 with 2 runs scored, and Mitch Williams was 2 for 3 and scored 4 times. Tate Brandenburg, Caden Rose, and Ace Giles drove in runs for Maora-Forsyth. Kelly struck out 7 in 5 innings for the Trojans. He allowed 2 unearned runs and 2 hits. Maora-Forsyth is 4-0 on the season. They will host Mount Zion today. The Normal Community Ironmen had a strong showing in a showcase tournament in Belleville this weekend with a 2-0 win over Belleville East, and then an 11-0 win over Moline. Brady Bankston struck out 11 in 5 innings in the opener. The 6'6" senior allowed just a walk, facing 2 over the minimum. Riley Henderson was 2 for 4 with an RBI for Normal Community, and Sal Gora drove in the other run for the Ironmen. In its 11-1 win over Moline, Ryan Teeley finished 2 for 2 with a pair of RBIs and a pair of walks. Brady Burkhart was 1 for 4 with a pair of RBIs, and Lucas Drangwitz was 2 for 4 with a pair of runs scored. Caleb Hackman finished 1 for 3 with an RBI and scored twice. Owen Kavanaugh and Dexter Neatcamp each scored 2 runs and drove in a run. Jake Branch went 3 2/3 innings, allowing a run on 4 hits with 2 walks and a strikeout. Hackman struck out 5 in an inning and a third scoreless relief. Normal Community is 4-0 on the season and will return to action for a 4 p.m. game at Morton High School on Wednesday. Lockport gradually pulled away from Normal West for a 7-2 win Saturday in non-conference high school boys baseball action from Normal. The Wildcats were paced by Brady Hart, who was 2 for 3 with an RBI. Braden Whitehead and Ryder Kuhn stole bases for Normal West, who falls to 0-3 on the season. They will host Pekin this afternoon. Terrence Shannon Jr. scored 34 points on 15 of 17 shooting from the free throw line, helping 13th ranked Illinois outlast Wisconsin 93-87 in Big Ten Tournament Championship game action on Sunday. Marcus Damask added 26 points, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds. Dane Danger had 9 points and 7 boards for the Illini, who finished the regular season 26-8 overall and won their second conference tournament title in 4 years after shooting 16 of 26 in the second half. They faced a double-digit deficit in all 3 tournament wins. A.J. Storr had 24 points. Chucky Hepburn scored 20 for the Badgers, who went 7 for 20 from 3 after going 33 of 79 in their first 3 games. Shannon Jr. had 102 points in the 3 tournament games, 1 short of the Big Ten record, and was voted the most outstanding player. Keegan Murray had 103 points for Iowa in 2022, but the Hawkeyes played 4 games that year on the way to the tournament title. After celebrating in a shower of orange and blue confetti and cutting down the nets at the Target Center, the Illini hustled to a side room for the NCAA Tournament Selection Show, where they learned they are the number 3 seed in the East region with a first-round game on Friday against Morehead State. The defending champion Huskies earned the top seed in the NCAA tournament, joined by Houston, Purdue, and North Carolina as the number 1 seeds in a bracket that started going haywire even before the pairings were announced on Sunday evening. The Chicago Bears traded quarterback Justin Fields to the Pittsburgh Steelers Saturday night, clearing the way for them to draft a quarterback with the top overall pick, perhaps USC's Caleb Williams. The Bears receive a 2025 6th-round pick that could potentially become a 4th-rounder in return. Fields figures to back up 9-time Pro Bowler Russell Wilson, who signed a 1-year deal with the Steelers on Friday. Pittsburgh also traded Kenny Pickett to the Eagles once they added Wilson. Fields, the 11th overall pick in the 2021 draft by the Bears, and former GM Ryan Pace struggled as a rookie under former coach Matt Nagy. Though he produced big plays with his legs and arms, he did not develop as a passer the way the team hoped the past 2 years under Poles and coach Matt Eberflus. Fields completed 578 of 958 passes for 6,674 yards with 40 touchdowns and 30 interceptions in 3 seasons. He has just one 300-yard passing game for his career. Chicago could have gotten a big haul by trading the top pick, but it's not often the historically quarterback-challenged Bears have a chance to draft a prospect such as Williams. The 2022 Heisman Trophy winner is largely expected to be picked first overall after he threw 72 touchdown passes with just 10 interceptions in his past 2 seasons at USC after a year at Oklahoma. The trade of Fields comes 2 days after the Bears acquired Keenan Allen from the LA Chargers in their second deal for a star receiver in as many years. They dealt the number 1 pick in 2023 to Carolina for DJ Moore last March. The Bears also got the Panthers' first-rounder this year, and with Carolina finishing a league-worst 2-15, Chicago wound up with the top pick this year. Denny Hamlin won the NASCAR Cup Series race at Bristol Motor Speedway Sunday, passing Joe Gibbs' teammate Martin Truex Jr. in the final laps for his 4th victory at the famed short track. Hamlin also won at NASCAR's Bull Ring last September. This one, though, was much different. Tire issues hampered most of the field all afternoon as only 5 cars finished on the lead lap. The first time that's happened in the Cup Series in 20 years. The Gibbs cars were the class of the field. It was Hamlin's 52nd career win, locking him into the playoffs. Brad Keselowski finished 3rd in a Ford. Alex Bowman was 4th in a Chevrolet, and Bowman's Hendrick Motorsports teammate Kyle Larson rounded out the top 5. The other 2 Gibbs drivers, driven by Ty Gibbs and Christopher Bell, finished 9th and 10th, respectively. The race was chaotic from the start, with cars burning through tires at an alarming rate. NASCAR issued each team an extra set. That gave them 11 sets in total, including the one used in qualifying. It made for 4 hours of chaos of tire management that gave control to drivers and crew chiefs. It also led to the most lead changes, 54 in NASCAR's short track history, breaking the previous mark of 40 set in 1991 at Bristol. NASCAR returned to normal for the first time this year in 4 years for the spring race. The track added red clay each of the last 3 years. Reviews were mixed as the novelty wore off. Subpar racing inside the high bank oval shaped overshadowed any excitement that came with the series running on dirt for the first time since 1970. In an effort to improve the racing and make sure the track had 2 equal lanes, workers put down a resin-based traction compound through the turns. It was far from perfect. Goodyear felt the need to make a rare statement during the race. Greg Stucker, the tire manufacturer's director of racing, said a test at Bristol Motor Speedway last year was intended to find a setup that led to more tire wear, but called the Sunday outcome too drastic. The rubber that was supposed to leave tires and adhere to the racing grooves came off in chunks. That looked like shredded cheese. Those loose pieces, called marbles, create a slippery situation around the half-mile track. Part of the culprit may have been the track's decision to put down a new and different traction compound. The series moves to its first road track of the season with a Sunday race at the Circuit of Americas in Austin, Texas. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
So you call your virtual insurance company to ask a simple question about your policy, but now you're on hold listening to this music while you wait and wait. Auto Owners works with local independent